welcome back to my channel. I know it's been such a long time, but hopefully I'm back. I'll try and do a little bit more of like regular YouTube videos. I know I've been really bad, but yeah, hopefully that's something I'm going to fix. So today's video, as you can probably tell by the title, is going to be all about like my foundation routine. So I've kind of changed it up a little bit since I did last post my foundation routine up on YouTube. I do it a little bit more differently now. Like, I do tend to change up my routine, change up my products. I like to test new products as well. So for a while, like, this is what is actually working for me at the moment, and I'm really happy with the way that my foundation and my makeup actually looks at the end of the day. So if you would like to see how I create my base and my foundation routine, then carry on watching. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and jump straight in to all of the foundation and the base and the goodness, the contour, highlighting, everything. So for foundation, I'm gonna be using the Uoma Beauty Say What foundation. So this foundation has quickly become one of my favorite foundations. It's got amazing coverage, guys, like the best coverage. And what is really good about the coverage is that it does not look cakey. It really kind of mimics your skin. So it's a foundation that actually looks like skin. So what I've really enjoyed basically doing is mixing this foundation with my other foundations. The two other foundations that I've actually mixed it with is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous foundation, which is this right here, and the McGrath Skin Fetish foundation. But these two foundations work so good together because they both kind of mimic your skin, and when you double them up, you get amazing, like, you get an amazing finish with both of these put together. So I would normally kind of wear these two if I'm actually going out. So because I'm not going out, I'm actually going to be mixing it today with the Anastasia Luminous foundation. And by the way, guys, I've already prepped and primed my skin. I've got primer on, so I'm good to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with the Uoma. So I just like to dot this around my face first, and then I'll go in with the Anastasia foundation. It's kind of like a small mirror, and then I like to do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll just do another 8 on this side, and then 1 on the chin, 1 on the nose. So I just grabbed my Anastasia foundation, and I'm just going to do like 4 dots, but I'm just going to only do it in the middle of the Uoma foundation, and then just a little bit on the chin and a little bit on the nose. Like, I love the finish of this as well as the McGrath foundation, but this one's just like a little bit more daytime wearable. So what I've been doing recently is I've been using the Juno sponge, and I love this. If you guys watch my previous videos on my Instagram, or I think I've put it up on my YouTube as well, I really cannot remember, but I used to use the Huda Beauty body brush for my face because it's so densely packed. It was amazing at giving like full coverage, but I've really been loving this Juno sponge because it's got like a velvety texture. It really kind of fills in all of the pores and everything, and your makeup or your foundation actually looks really flawless compared to the Beauty Blender as well. The Beauty Blender is good, but I feel like the Beauty Blender soaks up a lot of the product, whereas this one, because it has that microfiber velvety texture, the product doesn't really go into the sponge as much as it does with the Beauty Blender. So even with powders, it's amazing at applying like setting powder underneath your eyes. So if you're baking or anything like that, it picks up way more product than the Beauty Blender does. So I haven't actually applied any foundation on my forehead, so I just go in with whatever is left on the sponge on my forehead because I like to blend out the bronzer or the contour along the top later on, so it doesn't really matter too much about the forehead area at the moment. So hopefully you guys can see like the coverage on both of the foundations when they've been mixed together. Like, it looks more of like a wearable coverage. It does still give like kind of like a full coverage effect, but then it's not too matte, and then I know you can see it's a bit dewy here, but once I finish up with my makeup and everything, it's kind of like in the middle, like not too matte, not too dewy, so it's kind of perfect for like an everyday kind of skin look. Okay, so for concealer, I actually use 2 concealers. So I use the Huda Beauty concealer alongside with the Uoma Beauty concealer. The reason why I love to use these 2 is because one is for brightening and one is just for like a normal concealer coverage. So I like to go in with the Uoma Beauty one first, and I literally use like the tiniest amount with this one because it is a little bit light and it does brighten up your under eye a lot. So a little bit goes a long way with this one. So I literally just do like 1 on the side of my nose and then 1 just there, and same again on the other side. And then with the Huda Beauty concealer, I like to go in between the Uoma, and then I'll just put 1 down at the bottom. And then with the Huda Beauty, I take it down my nose, a little bit on my forehead, and just a little bit on my chin. So now I'm going back in with the Juno sponge, and I'm just going to blend all of that out. So guys, I really need to like get back into drinking a lot more water. I've noticed a massive difference. So I don't know if you guys, if you look on my Instagram around the time when Huda Beauty, when she released her Mercury retrograde palette, that is a time when I was drinking like so much water and my skin was so smooth, so like glowy, and my makeup would like go on a lot more better as well. And then now I can feel it, like I don't know, it's just I've gotten so lazy, and I just feel like, oh, now I can see the difference, a massive difference, and I just need to get back into the routine of actually just pulling myself together, and then just, yeah, I need to just drink a lot more water because my skin just looks so dehydrated as well. And you can really tell with your makeup, because once you do it, you can see a massive difference. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of the concealer that's left over and then just go on top of my eyelid, because I don't like to put too much on here. So yeah, definitely going to go back into the routine of drinking a lot more water. And I noticed I had a lot less breakouts when I was drinking the water, so yeah, it really helped with that as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to dust a little bit of the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter setting powder. So normally I don't really feel the need to like go straight in and set the concealers with the setting powder, because both of these concealers I feel like they don't really crease straight away, and I don't feel like they're drying or anything like that. And I can usually like just go straight in and do my contour, but just for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to put a little bit of the setting powder underneath. So I'm literally just dusting the tiniest amount and only under my eye area, because I'm going to be putting on another product. I don't want the powder and then the cream to be mixing and making a mess. You don't want that to kind of mix together. So next I'm using the Huda Beauty Tantour. So I have this in the shade medium, but I feel like I need to get the light because this is now starting to feel a little bit too dark for me. This would be more of like my summer colour. So in summer when I'm a little bit darker, I can maybe use this a lot more, but at the moment I feel like it is a little bit too dark for my skin. But I'm just going to use it for the video because I don't have the light colour. How I actually like to apply it, I get like a flat synthetic brush and I literally just do a few like strokes just around my face, and I like to do 3 just under my cheekbones, and then just 1 along the side, and then I just take it under my jaw. So I used to go in with like an actual contour brush, but because the colour is a little bit dark and it is really creamy, I feel like when I did buff it out, it just spreads like a lot more than what I actually want it to. And by using a smaller brush, I can kind of control where I actually want the product to actually go. So I'm just doing the same on the other side. For the nose, I'm using a completely different one. So I'm going in with the Fenty Beauty matchstick bronzer. This one's in the shade Truffle. So I use a completely different one for my nose. Because the Huda Beauty one is darker, I don't really want to be applying a product that's really dark on my nose, because it's not going to look right and it's going to actually look a little bit more like product. So I like to go in with this one. It's just a little bit more lighter and a little bit more of a natural and realistic looking colour. So I'm just going to buff it all out, and I'm going to use this mini contour brush by Real Techniques. So I just like to blend it upwards when it's on the cheeks, and then I'll just go along and basically frame my face with the Tantour. Hopefully you guys can see how easily like that blends out, but then you can see how much, like a teeny tiny bit of this product will just spread. So that's why I don't really like to use a bigger brush and dip straight into it and then apply it, because I feel like it just covers your whole face with the actual product and it doesn't really sculpt, and that's what you really want this product to do, is just like sculpt your face. And I feel like because it is a darker shade, like any mistakes I make, you can see it. You can so see it with this one. It takes a lot more to kind of blend out, and even though I only did those 3 dots, you can see it's kind of really like dark towards the front, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my Juno sponge and I just go over that little section at the front just to kind of blend all of it together, and I just do the same on the other side. So for the nose, I'm going in with that same flat synthetic brush, and I'm just going to blend the Fenty matchstick into my nose, and then I just blend it in as much as I can with the brush. And then what I like to do, I like to use my ring finger, and I'm just going to lightly pat that in. I feel like you get so much of a better blend when you use your actual finger as opposed to the brush. Sometimes the brush can be a little bit streaky. So at this point I'm only going to be setting my nose with the contour, and I'm going to set it with the Fenty Beauty Stalk'r bronzer. So I have this in the shade Islanding, and I feel like this is a perfect shade for like contouring. So this shade I feel like is literally so perfect for adding a little bit of contour to your face. You can even just use literally just this powder. You don't even have to use the Huda Tantour, but I like to set over whatever I do. But at the moment I'm only going to be setting my nose, and I like to go in with a small kind of flat brush just so you can be kind of really precise, because I feel like with the nose you have to really go in to a little bit more detail. But my nose is like the main thing that I want to concentrate on, so I spend a little bit more time on my nose. And I'm just going back in with the Juno sponge just to kind of blend the powder and the cream together. And again, you don't really want no harsh lines. So while everything is like mixing and melting together on my face, I like to go in with my blush, and I love using this Nars liquid blush. So this one is in the shade Orgasm, and it is a liquid blush, which is why I like to use it now while everything is kind of wet and mixed together. So I've just pumped a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to go in with my mini Real Techniques brush. This one's a different one, but I love to use this one for my blush. So I just apply that right onto my cheeks and just do a little smile as well. It really helps to kind of place the product correctly, and it may look like I've put a lot on, but once I do everything, it's all gonna come together, don't worry. Okay guys, so now that everything is mixed on my face, this would be the point where I go ahead and set everything down. So before I go in with my setting powder, I set everything with my Fenty Beauty Universal Blotting Powder. So this one, I like to just apply it all over my face. I really feel like it helps with all of like the oils, and you know, it just keeps your makeup in place as well. And I feel like if I don't do this step, I see a slight difference in my makeup. Like it doesn't last as long, and I get oilier like throughout the day a lot more quicker as well. And what I love about this powder is that even though it's like a white powder. It doesn't show any like white cast on your face or anything like that. You can hopefully see like instantly as soon as I put it on, it's taken away any like oil, any like shine, and it really smooths out your skin as well, and it gives a really nice texture to your skin. Okay, so now that everything is nice and smooth, like it's looking the way I want it to, I'm going to definitely go ahead and set it. And I'm using the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder, and I'm using it in the shade Pound Cake. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to grab my beauty blender. This is a black one, it's the Pro Beauty Blender, and it's dry. So I get a dry beauty blender and I just dip it straight into the powder. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to really bring it in. So on the bridge of my nose, I'm really going to apply it right onto the bone. So you want to go as narrow as you can at this point. That's if you want a slimmer nose. And then what I do, I just drag the rest of the product out. So I'm not really going to be applying any more product under my eyes. I'm just dragging whatever is on my nose. So I'm just dragging whatever is on my nose and I'm just spreading it out. And then I like to kind of like bring it up along here as well. It helps to kind of lift up your face. So I'm just doing the same on the other side. And what you want to do is really press it into your skin, so it really kind of sets the makeup. And just grab a little bit more if you feel like you need to go a little bit more in with the nose. I like to do the sides of my nostrils as well to really kind of slimming it down. So the reason why I like to use a dry beauty blender with the setting powder is because I feel like it really picks up the product a lot more better than the damp one for some reason. And not only that, you can really kind of push it into your skin and it stays, like it doesn't come back off with the sponge. It kind of just sits on your skin, and then when you push it in, it sinks it in. And I feel like it really helps to make your makeup last a lot more longer. So I'm taking a really tiny flat synthetic brush. This one is the Morphe M170 -4. So this one's a flat brush, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go down the bridge of my nose, and I like to use this one because it's so super thin, and I feel like if your line is really thin, like it really gives that illusion of a skinnier bridge. Literally I just go straight down, and I feel like I have to dip in a few times into the powder for this one, and you have to be really careful, like it has to be a thin line. And not only does it have to be thin, it has to be straight, because if it goes wonky on this one, your nose will look wonky as well. So I don't want it coming down too much, so I'm just going to dust a little bit off there. And then for the tip of my nose, what I like to do is I just do a little dot with the powder just at the end like that, and then that's it. So I'm going to be setting like underneath my cheekbone, and I'm going to go in with a brush. So I'm just gonna dip straight into the powder. Usually I would use like a shade darker, but I've actually run out of my Uoma Beauty Blondie setting powder, so I'm just going to do a light dusting of this one. And along here, you don't have to be too heavy, you can just lightly just go over, and you don't have to dip back in until you get to the other side. So I'm just going to dip back in, and then I'm just going to press it. So you really want to kind of sculpt your cheekbone a little bit more, and then just ooh, and then just lightly dust that across. So that kind of just sets the rest of the makeup when you just kind of go over the rest of your face. Now I'll just put a little bit onto my forehead, and I like to just dust a little bit of the powder underneath the eyes off at this point as well. So while my face is baking, this is a point where I like to go in and just do my brows. So I'm going to be doing my brows, but I'll do it off of camera because brows are just a little bit basic and everyone really has their own way of doing their brows. If you guys do want to see like an eyebrow tutorial, let me know in the comment down below. I'll try and do one for you guys. But yeah, I'm just going to do my brows off camera for now. Okay guys, so brows are done, so now it's time to dust off all of the powder. So I'm going to dust it off with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I love this one. This one is in the shade 2 Medium. So I'm using my MAC 138. It's like a big fluffy brush, but then it's tapered as well. So it really gets right underneath your eyes. I love this brush. So I love to dust off with this brush, as you can see. So what you want to do, you want to flick outwards when you go to the nose, so that really helps to blend everything together. I don't really like dragging it down. I don't really feel like it helps blend it as well. So on the nose I like to flick it out, and then underneath the eyes, that's where I go down and then out. And I only use this brush to basically just buff off any excess powder, or if I feel like I'm getting oily throughout the day, I just literally grab this brush and just pat it on my face just to dab off any excess oil. I don't really go in with any extra product. I just literally just use this brush, so I don't dip it into anything. Just dab it on my face and literally it just blots everything away. So for some of you guys, if you do feel like you tend to get more oily during the day, try using like just a plain big fluffy brush and just dab it wherever you feel like you're getting oily, and just see the difference. Like, you really don't need to add on any extra product. Okay, so now with all that setting powder, the Charlotte Tilbury powder, obviously like you feel like the bronzer and the contour is kind of dulled down a lot, like not just a bit, a lot. So I'm going back in with the Fenty Beauty Stalk'r bronzer, and I'm just gonna go over just lightly, just under my cheekbones, along the side, and just really kind of frame your face again, but just lightly. You really don't need too much because you still have the contour, bronzer, whatever sitting underneath, so it just helps to kind of bring it out a little bit more. So just really lightly, guys, and just go underneath. So hopefully you can see that's kind of added some of that colour back into the face and don't look so like washed out. Okay, so now I'm just going to blend all the powders and the creams together, and I like to do that with the Farsali Rose Gold Skin Mist. So I like to use this in between my makeup. Well, not really in between because we're nearly done, but I like to use it at this point, so it just kind of helps to blend all of that together. And just do a light mist of that. So while the Farsali is still a little bit damp on my face, I'll go in with my highlighter. So I'm using the Anastasia one today, and this is the Amrezy highlighter. This is like my all-time favourite. Always be my go-to highlighter if I don't know what highlighter to use, or if I just want something that's a little bit more of like an everyday highlight. So I'm not going to go too heavy with the highlight today, just want a little bit. And then for the nose, what I do, I'll go back to that really tiny Morphe synthetic brush, if I can find it. Just doing a few strokes with the highlighter, and this highlighter is great because even if you dig your brush in, it's not really too pigmented. Like, you can build up the pigmentation with this highlighter. And I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just going down and doing a line down the bridge of my nose, just kind of blend that out, and then I'm just doing that same little dot on the tip and then blend that out. Okay guys, so literally just one more step left and this is done, but now I want to lock everything into place, and this is where I bring in my Huda Beauty. So this is a Resting Boss Face setting spray. I love this one. Like, I always use it at the end when I'm done. I really feel like this and the Fenty blotting powder, they work so well together in helping to make sure your makeup stays on your face and it's not budging. And even when it gets oily, it doesn't kind of like mix around, and it doesn't, like, your products or whatever your makeup is, it's not going to move around on your face whenever you use this spray. The only thing is, can't really breathe when you spray it because it's so strong with the scent on this one, but I don't really mind as long as it gets the job done. But for some people that are really sensitive to fragrance, this might not be the one for you, but it does a great job, so just hold your nose. Okay guys, so that was it for my updated foundation routine. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it wasn't too long. Usually my base literally only takes me 15 minutes, like that is it. But because I have to explain through everything, obviously for the video, it takes a little bit longer. And plus, because I'm so used to doing this routine as well, like I'm so quick at like knowing what to do, whatever, like it just comes like so naturally to me now. But this is the finished look. I love this foundation. Ever since I've discovered this foundation, I've literally been wearing it every single day. And like I said in my video, I've recently started to mix it with my other foundations as well, and it works even better. And if you guys can get your hands on the Juno sponge, like it's only £4 or £5, it's amazing. Like it will change your makeup application game. Like it has to be the most flawless coverage kind of sponge I've ever used. Like I really didn't think that anything could sway me away from the beauty blender, but this is it. Like I haven't really like used my beauty blender, and the only time I feel like I use my beauty blender is to actually apply the setting powder at the end, but that is it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, comment down below, like and share. Follow me over on my Instagram as well. I obviously do a lot more over there than I do on here, which is really bad, I know, but hopefully I'll be catching up and I'll do a lot better on my YouTube. But bye guys. Done, so now it's time to dust off all of the powder. So I'm going to go in with my Charlotte Tilbury. Okay, so now I've kind of mixed everything together on my face. This is where I like to set it. Why?